Okay, welcome to part 2 of Bowser's commentary on his shorts. We ended with Psychopomp, and now we're going to start with ASMR. This was an idea that I'd had for a while. I do like listening to ASMR. I find it very relaxing, certain types. And again, I think I was processing, I think you can even see in this room, I'm about to start talking about Little Willy formally and making a Little Willy pitch video and all this stuff. Cut poem scene. Yeah, like there's some notes on the wall that have to do with Little Willy. My friend Mary Neely said yes to being the ASMR artist, which I thought was perfect. I do wish I had recorded the ASMR properly, like the way ASMR artists do. And I didn't, which put a lot on my sound designer to fix in post. But I'm even finding just what she's doing relaxing. There's certain sounds I really find relaxing, and there's certain sounds that I don't. But I'll listen to ASMR to relax sometimes. You know, if you look at what this guy's wearing, it's the same outfit from Psychopomp. I think it's just knowingly investigating the same theme of obsession leading to death. And these were all coming from a somewhat depressive state. I guess less depressive and more investigating a feeling of directionless. A feeling of directionless? A directionless feeling. I guess I should have also said, like, Psychopomp was shot on my cell phone, so is ASMR, except for her footage was shot on a DSLR. But, you know, people, there was a big Twitter thing a while ago where some successful filmmaker said, hey, you've got no excuses. Anyone can shoot a movie now on their cell phone. Get out there and make your movie. Fuck off. I make movies on my cell phone all the time. They don't get me studio jobs. They don't even get me agents. Every indie filmmaker shoots movies on their cell phones. Indie filmmakers are constantly creating. That's not what we need. What we need is the agents and the managers and the meetings that you get through having representation. I found that tweet to be so belittling, so reductive and pandering. Hey, guy, go out there and make your movie, my guy. Oh, we do. We make our movies. We shoot them on cell phones, and we put them on our YouTube channels. And they don't always get us where you need to go to be successful in the film industry. We don't lack the ideas. I mean, I guess the director that tweeted this might have been saying, here's what they should have said. Making a movie on your cell phone is a great way to exercise your filmmaking muscles and find your voice so that eventually you can make bigger films. But don't try to keep us at the kids' table. That's what it felt like. Having fun making you can make a movie on a cell phone. Go do that. I'm going to go do this remake that got me paid $500,000 per draft. Hey! Fuck off. I think what's so annoying about that idea is that it's coming from a director or filmmaker that doesn't seem to create consistently because of the burden, due to the burden of self-expression. Indie filmmakers do. That's why we're constantly making. We have this burden of self-expression. We're compelled to put this stuff out there. So of course we're shooting on our goddamn cell phones. We don't need you, studio director, to tell us that. Okay? We got that note. We're good. What we need is more money, more resources. What we need are bigger teams. What we need is larger distribution. And the truth is what we need is what they have. And so that's why they'd say, hey, go back to the kids' table. Make a movie on your cell phone even. Huh? Shot a movie on a GoPro, shot a movie on a cell phone. We've done it all. Indie filmmakers are constantly creating by any means necessary. That's not the fucking tip we need. Studio director. I like this vibe too. You can tell it's in the same vein as Psychopomp. It's kind of investigating a dreamlike tone. Mary plays the voiceover or the ASMR artist, but then Olivia is her body double because there were a couple of shots that we didn't quite get that I needed to get. So think about how amateur the visuals are. I mean, they're fine as far as how they're composed, and I get it, it's shot on a cell phone. But the sound design is really dialed in. And it makes the whole thing feel more intentional and feel less amateur. And I know that's not new news to anybody that sound is everything, but holy hell. Sound is everything. It bothers me that when she says from burden, she's not saying it in the wide shot. And it's not her fault. It was how I edited that. And I just chose to bite the bullet and let it be incorrect. So that would be Olivia, I think. You know, there's vibes of this that are like a little film schooly. I don't mind that. I think, you know, you gotta give yourself room to explore and experiment. I'm always putting blood on my floor. My wife's always very excited about that. I think that's a cool little short. There's something about it that feels less fully formed than Psychopomp. I think it's an idea, and I think it was an investigation into an idea, and I think it was a further exploration of the tone. Oh, look, my Patreon. I think I'm going to be closing that soon. I think I just need to focus on getting ready for Onyx and keeping the YouTube channel consistent. Okay, so now we're straight into a short called I Wish I Hadn't Seen That. I think that's what it's called. Now this is interesting because I heard, well, let's see. Holy fuck, Jesus, fuck my, holy shit. So I had heard about a video that was circulating on TikTok that was a man killing himself. And people were hiding it in other videos. They would take a video of just a girl dancing and then they would stitch and put the guy killing himself at the end of that video. Horribly graphic. I was terrified of seeing it. I didn't see it. I never saw it. But I was ruminating on what if I had seen it and how much it would have fucked me up for the week. And, you know, I have a tendency, I don't know if it's my personality type or if this is the same for a lot of people, but like, you know, I a lot of times I process by externalizing and also I fixate. Now we're back to obsession. He's looking at the video again. I feel like it's like he wants the video to have less of an impact than it had initially. And so he's trying to like watch it enough times to where it loses that edge. But this is what happened out of this short that I thought was interesting. In the comments, there are people saying, I'm so sorry you saw that, dude. I know what video you're talking about. Or talking about other videos they'd seen that they wish they hadn't seen. You know, that somebody had put on Reddit or a Faces of Death video from back in the day or whatever. And what I thought was interesting is, it's almost as if there's this trust in me as a filmmaker to be very personal. To where people assumed I had seen a video that I was upset by, and that's why this short exists. Which I thought was a great compliment, because the truth is, I had not seen the video. I've seen shit that upset me that I wish I hadn't seen. But this specific video, I never saw. But my expression of what I would have dealt with had I seen it, I think felt very genuine. Because that's the point. It's an expression of a genuine curiosity or emotion that I was feeling. But the fact that people thought I had seen it and then said, "I'm so sorry." It was really touching. And it also made me think about the blurred lines between fiction and reality, especially when I've made a habit of putting myself in my own projects and made a habit of putting Onyx in situations where he's meant to feel believable and it's meant to be real. I mean, I shot this in an afternoon. It felt good to just get something else done. Again, putting your brain through the process of coming up with an idea, executing the idea, and just finishing the idea is a healthy process to put your brain through, no matter what the outcome. I imagine I'm shaved into a goatee because I was probably shooting Thrill Me around this time, which I think will be the last one we watch on this, like, shorts commentary. And also, you know, again with the tone of like something being kind of, there's something comical in the middle of something dark. I don't know, I sing karaoke sometimes to relax myself and let go. I had an extra cell phone. And you know, not to excuse myself, this doesn't have the best structure. And I think it's important sometimes to pursue an idea if the stakes are low enough that you don't have fully figured out. I didn't really know how to end this. Some people say they like the ending. This to me doesn't have the structure I normally look for in something, even that exists in Psychopomp or ASMR. But sometimes it's nice, again, when the stakes are low, who's going to care? I made this on my cell phone in an afternoon, and I put it on my YouTube channel. Maybe it's okay that I hadn't figured it all out. It also gets you familiar with that feeling when you don't have it all figured out, so you can recognize that feeling next time. So when I'm writing something, like the Onyx feature, I can have that feeling, and I can know, oh, this is the feeling I have when I don't have an idea fully fleshed out, and I can recognize the way it feels when I do have an idea fully fleshed out. And I feel like the Onyx movie is fully fleshed out. I feel like the green shit is fully fleshed out. Now we're into that. So I remember shooting this and still being very nervous about the pandemic. I mean, I self-shot this whole thing except for like 2 or 3 shots at the end. My friend Kelsey and her boyfriend shot the last couple shots because I'm in the frame with her. But I entered this I made this because of a contest on Dread Central. And then we won the contest, which is awesome. And I got a call from somebody at Dread Epic that was like, did you really conceptualize, shoot this, and turn it around for the contest? It feels like something you worked on for longer. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. They asked me that, and I said, no, I literally did this for the contest. I had this idea when I saw the contest announced. I shot it the next week, edited it the following week. But that's another reason why you should always stay in practice, because then you have your people. I have a sound designer ready to go. I know an animator. My friend Rob did the music. Like, the more you create, the more you assemble that team that's like ready to go at the drop of a hat. They may be busy. They may not be available always, but like in the Onyx movie, there's not a single question as far as who's going to do what. I know everybody I want to be involved. And that's because I've done a bunch of these shorts and a bunch of Nerdist shorts and 3 other experimental features. Yeah, anyway, I really like that. It's a really concise idea. I think it has mood and style, even though it's self-shot on a cell phone. All right, now we're into it. The Big Daddy, Little Willy. I got a lot to say about Little Willy. I don't know if I've ever formally done a commentary on it. I love this idea. This idea means a lot to me. The feature script for Little Willy is, next to the Onyx film, my favorite thing I've ever written. And I really think it works. And the purpose of making this short was to make the feature. And I feel this is an example of having learned the lesson from House Mother. While I wrote Little Willie and when we shot Little Willie, the whole time I thought, okay, but will this truly express what could be fun about a feature version of this concept? And I do think I think it works. And right before the pandemic started is when we were getting this around to people. And it was getting into festivals. And unfortunately, the feature film version of Little Willie happens at a horror convention. So you've got hundreds of extras all crammed into one space. I mean, that was never going to happen during the pandemic. And that's why I wrote Onyx, 7 people in a haunted mansion. But I feel like Little Willie is getting even closer to the right tone for me as a director. I think it's a good example of my absurd but grounded approach to subject matter. And the energy of this is I love fucking getting all those things created. All the banners and the pins. That's my favorite shit. I mean, that's my favorite shit. The turbulence, it was like I'd worked with Zach on a Nerdist sketch, and he was wonderful. But I'd never worked with Adrian. She was absolutely delightful.
No, actually, I'm based out of Atlanta now.
Oh, really? How do you like it?
Personally, I love it. I mean, it's like, what, 2 hours away?
And, you know, this comes from my feelings of failure because I started acting when I was 8 years old and arguably still haven't made it on a lot of levels. And I think it's okay to feel those things. Delaware. What's important for artists is take those feelings and turn it into not just... I'm not going to tell you what to turn your issues into. Turn it into whatever kind of art you want. I like to turn it into something that makes me feel like it's helping me get over... It's helping me get Grammy Boy hairs flying around in my garage. It's helping me process some of the issues presented in the piece. So it's not just meditating on, I'm a failure, I'm a child actor that never made it. I fucking can't stand where I am. Why don't I have an agent? It's like, okay, cool. Let me take all that grist, run it through the mill, and turn it into a narrative that actually investigates how toxic that mindset is. It's just like everything else in all of my shorts. If you listen to the obsessive side, if you listen to the side that wants you to fixate on the negative, what are you really going to get, Andrew? Well, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a maniac killer loose at a horror convention. I'm not saying I would become that. I'm saying thematically, that's where that energy goes. You know, allegorically, that's where that energy goes. And so making these exercises that for me. It's so funny. Making a movie about a failure makes me feel like less of a failure. Because all my faculties are activated and I'm focused and I'm creating instead of imploding.
The loneliness eating away at your insides.
What?
I really like this scene also because I feel like it's a maturation of my voice. I rarely deal with intimacy. I rarely deal with... even just the way this scene is shot. My DP Dan did such a wonderful job with such limited resources. I mean, we shot this at a live horror convention, and Dan had to make it all look intentional. And I really think he did. Not only, obviously, the stuff in the hotel room, we could have more time and light properly, but the stuff on the floor and the booth looks great too. But love that. I just love this. Starts to feel like a movie I would make. You know what I mean? Little Willie for me starts to dial in. I'm really hoping that when people watch the Onyx movie, they feel like it was made by a real filmmaker, a director with a point of view and a voice. And I think Little Willie helped me dial that in. Like, I'm really happy with every aspect of Little Willie. And again, unlike House Mother, I do think it showcases what works about this premise and where the fun could be had. The only thing is, in the feature of Little Willie, there's a protagonist named Rika, and I wish I had found a way to get a Rika into the short, but it made the short too big, and it made you have too much to explain. We could really only stick with the atom of it all for the short. Man, the fucking feature rips, though, dude. Love this nightmare sequence. This is also my first time working with Matt Mahaffey, who will score the Onyx movie. And when I heard this theme, bum, 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 I was like, you get it, dude. You get it. Tales from the Crypt meets Gremlins. Love it. I really like the edit. I mean, I did the edit, but I really like the edit. It's so funny how an edit can make something feel cinematic. Overcutting can make something feel less cinematic, but undercutting can make something feel less cinematic. I feel like this has a good rhythm. I feel like it's really put together. I mean, this was a music cue that Matt came up with I wasn't expecting. And he was like, well, you're free, right? You think you're free. You think Little Willie is dead and gone. So let's have it feel like, you know, opportunities are open. Possibilities are endless. And I like that. It's just not what I expected. But in hindsight, I love it. And then it's funnier to do that fall off. Love that poster. I really like this, man. Originally, it was called Little Billy, and it was a web series I pitched to Nerdist. Never went anywhere. And then I hit upon the obvious metaphor of Little Willie and him feeling emasculated. It's too good. I think if the Onyx movie works, we'll either get another Onyx movie or we'll get Little Willie made. I think we'll get Little Willie made.
What exactly?
I don't know who I was versus what I'm becoming.
You're becoming a real piece of shit.
So I was really nervous shooting at this location because I hadn't told them it was a horror film. I kept saying comedy. And I was just worried that they'd catch wind of some of what we were talking about and realize it was a horror film. I don't know why they said yes to us filming there. God bless them. We had to film at like 7 in the morning, so there would be less people there. And it wasn't at the convention center where we filmed the actual horror convention stuff. They wouldn't let us film in their restaurant. These girls did such a good job, and they were cast locally, as well as the fan that kind of bothered me at the start of the short. He was cast locally, and they did a great job. I love casting. I don't know if it's because I'm an actor, but I love it. I'm so excited about who we have on board for the Onyx movie, and I'll be able to talk about it soon. So this is the only transition that, like, I don't feel like is fully... I don't know. I feel like it needs something else. I mean, he's back at his booth and he's drinking. The music helps. I don't know. Maybe it works.
Just once for us. Say it.
And so most of these people were at the convention and we hired them the day before, running around and saying, could you be in a short? But the two lead kind of goths came down from LA. We cast them.
It wasn't me. It was Little Willie, I swear. You're pathetic.
You know, it is slightly based on Onyx and the way people quote Onyx to me and the way I feel a little bit put in a box by that.
Oh, yeah.
And the solution is to make an Onyx film so that I can utilize Onyx to get me out of the box as a director. I love performing Onyx, but I need him to take me to the next level creatively, which is exactly what the film is about. I'm more excited to shoot this than any fucking idea I've had in the last 10 years. And it's because of Onyx, but it's also because of what I get to do as a director. And because Onyx's voice is so dialed in. He does a lot of the work for me. He figured out most of the movie, you know? So originally, we were actually supposed to see The Party, and we just didn't have time. But before we went to Arizona to shoot, I knew we wouldn't have time. I was like, we're not going to be able to shoot a party scene. So I was watching Blowout, the De Palma film, and they do this wonderful turn around as he realizes the film's been erased, right? And I thought, why don't we do what they do in Blowout and just have audio reminding or telling us what happened the night before? I think it works. A lot of people like this. It's hard for me to like it because I know it was a solve and it was a fix for something I wanted to shoot and couldn't. But I don't know. As a viewer, maybe you don't know it's a solve. Maybe you don't know it was a Band-Aid. Not a Band-Aid, but a workaround. I hope I have room on this card to get through Little Willie.
Oh my god. Oh, Willie. Willie, what did you do?
A lot of these elements are in the feature. The party that goes awry. Oh man, I just thought of something I wanted to say. Little Willie, I swear. Oh, my sound designer, Mike Gallagher, has told me for years to think in sound, think sonically when you're writing. And I'm getting there. I now try to think, well, what could Mike do that we can't do? What could Mike heighten that we can't fully communicate visually due to budget or whatever? And so I've started to lean on sound more. I think in a way that's opened up a lot of ideas that I otherwise wouldn't have.
Okay, Willie.
I'm almost out of room on this card. I hope we get through Little Willie. I mean, I love this, though. I love him thinking something's actually happening.
Can you believe it? Jump. You can do it, buddy. Down. All the way. He moves so fast. No, go this way. Show him how fast you can go. Go around. No, don't go through me.
A frustrating thing about being a filmmaker is
You are having fun. You're showing off is what you're doing. He's a little
you're constantly having to prove yourself, but you're constantly struggling with the lack of budget and time and resource. And it's like, you know, if you had more time and you had more money, you could prove yourself all that further.
And now he's dancing.
But you can't get the money and the time until you've proven yourself. It's just this like, you're like, is there enough in Little Willie to make people know I'm the real deal? Or is it still in question for people that would watch this? ASMR, Psycho Pump, House Mother, The Green Shit, the other films we have left to watch. Like, is there enough in there to instill confidence in me as a director? For the people that would finance, for the people that would hire. I don't know. I'd like to think there is. I'd like to think if they saw Worm and The Mother of Invention and Jimmy Tupper, that they'd think there was enough going on in this noggin to give me larger projects. All right, I might need to pause because we're about to run out of cards. So pause, and I'll be right back. Okay, we swapped cards and we're back into Little Willie. Here we go.
Okay. So look, buddy. Is there a friend or a family member that maybe we could call?
No.
Okay.
I really like the way Zach plays this.
Look, it's pretty clear.
Also, my sound designer
Something that's
said he laughed so hard when Zach asks, do you have a friend or family member? And Adam just says, no. Like, there's just no friends, no family?
I think
No. No.
I think
No, no, Willie, don't.
On the day, the person that was supposed to do the practical blood effects just couldn't get it together. So we were able to get a little practical, but then a little digital.
It was little Willie, I swear.
But all that stuff looks pretty good. I mean, it's so funny. Like, you judge things so harshly, and then once you're like a year away from a project, I think you mostly just recognize the effort. And you also realize that you're always going to judge your projects. And I think the closer you are to them, the more you'll judge them. The more distance you get, the less you judge them.
Don't worry, buddy. You made the right decision. It's gonna be you and me from here on out. And we're gonna have ourselves some fun.
On the day, my DP and my producer, they were like, "Are you going to wear the little hat?" And I said, "Yeah, that's the point." And they were like, I don't know, dude." I was like, "No way, you gotta wear the little hat." And then once I did it, they were like, "Oh yeah, you're right." I really like that short, and knowing what's in the feature, it all really rips. Adrienne Barbeau told me on the set, she said, "I've been in some shorts before where they've said, we want to make a feature of this." And she said, "Do you know what that feature is? Have you figured it out yet? Have you mapped out the story? Know that you've got a feature idea before you make the short proof of concept." And I told her, I said, I know the feature. And then a few months later, she read the feature and she said, "Yeah, you really did. You knew you had a feature there, and it was a great one." She loved the script. Maybe after Onyx, we'll get to make Little Willy. Maybe after we make an Onyx trilogy, he says with supreme optimism. And yeah, this really shored up the team that'll be working on Onyx. Che is an illustrator that does so much stuff for me, and he rocks. All right, now we're going to go into the saga of self-tape.